Okay, for example, first we're going to look at, without any dock at all, you can see I've got both monitors going and system reports showing both of them are at 4K 60 Hertz. Now this is using the standard Apple multi-connector for USB and power. That doesn't have any video coming over it. But you can see I've got both Thunderbolt 3 to DisplayPort cables going to the two monitors into their DisplayPorts. And with this setup, everything is rock solid. Works great. I don't have any issues. And for point of note, Ethernet here is going through that USB hub back there, that the adapter. Now let's take a look at what happens with the Belkin Thunderbolt 3 dock. I'm going to plug in, sorry for the shaky cam, trying to do this one-handed. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the one monitor via Thunderbolt 3. And next we're going to plug in the cable that goes to the computer, but we'll wait a second to plug that in. Undo this monitor is going to connect DisplayPort to DisplayPort. So we're going to plug in a DisplayPort cable. And the other end of that I will grab and plug that into the back of the dock. Okay, that kind of woke it up a little bit. It's hard, the dock has power right now. So now I'm going to grab a patch cord that's plugged into my switch for my Ethernet. I'm going to get that back here. If I can find it. There we go. And then last, I think I'm going to plug in my keyboard, so the other keyboard's plugged into the hub, and I don't want to undo everything to test that, so I've got a separate keyboard I'll use here. There we go. So keyboard in. Okay. Wake up the computer. Oh, I forgot to plug it into the computer. Hold on. Find the right cable. Here we go. So we'll plug in Thunderbolt to the Mac now. And you see the monitors start to wake up. There we go. The main one is up and asking for my password, so let me one-handed type that. My daughter's going to love that I used her background for this video. That's a few years ago. Alright, so now it is supposedly waking up. There we go. We've got one monitor woke up. Let me come in and refresh this so it can be updated. You notice this one's still sitting here saying it has no signal. So we'll refresh my display info. And there we go. So we see we have one monitor. It doesn't see the other monitor yet. This is common. One of the things that sometimes will work to get the other monitor on is to unplug and replug in the DisplayPort cable for this LG monitor. So let's do that. Grab that unplugged, and we'll go ahead now, give it a second, and we'll plug it back in. Wait a second, there we go. So we've got it on the monitor. Let's refresh my display here and see what we get. And yes, we've got both at 60 Hertz. Now occasionally that one will come up at 30 Hertz. And what I've found sometimes will work is if I go into displays in the system preferences, that will, if I go back to native resolution instead of scaled, it'll fix it, and then I can scale it again, it's fine. But you'll notice the Belkin Ethernet's not working. And based on the troubleshooting on the Belkin website, I did go and I reordered Belkin to be at the top, and that worked once. And again, this is all, these things that don't work just are random. So sometimes it'll come up working, sometimes it won't. So I'm going to go ahead and try restarting the whole computer now. And so let's see if that has any positive effect. Okay, we're coming back up now. This is the Dell monitor, which is the one that's connected via the Thunderbolt 3 port on the back of the dock to a Thunderbolt to DisplayPort into the back of the Dell. That always works. That one I don't have any problems with. It's the DisplayPort one that seems to have the problems. Wait for OS 10 to do whatever it does. Here we go. So various apps starting up. You'll notice the left monitor not happy at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, it's not happy. So let's go look at our system info again. And you'll notice it keeps blinking on and off, like it's trying to do something, and I notice lagginess in the operating system UI. So it's trying to do something, best I can tell. You can see, again, it recognizes just a single monitor. And if we go look at network now, that resolved. So now we have Ethernet. That's good, I mean, relatively. But the displays aren't working again. So this is kind of how it goes, back and forth, and get one thing working, get another thing working. I have to disconnect this laptop and reconnect multiple times a day, and or let it go to sleep, when I go to lunch or go to sleep. I can't have it, when I come back, not return to my normal settings. That's just not an acceptable thing, especially for what I paid for this. So that's my main complaint. Let's see, does it ever come back? See, it just doesn't. But it sits here and it cycles. It's like it's trying to wake it up and it can't. And I don't know if it's something that Apple has done in their latest OS that's causing this issue with your dock, or what. But it's seriously not happy. So I think I tried one more time here. Yeah, I'm gonna unplug the monitor one more time. Since this worked before, let's plug it back in. And that's not acceptable. I mean, if this works more, most of the times, that's not an acceptable workaround. The whole point of this dock is so that I have a single cable come into the computer, and I'm not messing with all these other cables that eventually will be hidden and cable managed. I don't want to have to be disconnecting and reconnecting my monitor cable. Otherwise, it's no better than one. No better than no dock at all. If I did that. And it's just for grins. Let's see, is my network still there? Yes. So at least I still have network. So here's another. I tried power cycling the dock itself. I removed it from the computer, removed it from AC power, plugged it back in, gave it a minute, and I plugged the laptop back in. Let's see if this does anything for me. I can see there's power to USB, and there we go, we're waking up. And we log back in. Again, sorry for the shaky cam. And let's see what I've got going. Let's refresh. And okay, we're both back at 60 Hertz again. Let's check network. and I've got no. So I'm in a good state now. Again, having to power cycle the dock, not acceptable. And again, it doesn't always work. Sometimes that solves things. Sometimes I'm plugging the Ethernet cable and plugging it back in. I had none of these problems with either the direct, you know, plug into the laptop with the USB hub, or also, as you'll see in a moment, I've got a Lenovo dock that this is supposed to be replacing that has none of these problems. It has its own issues, but it has none of these problems. It's rock solid as far as you know, the software or you know, whatever the connections to the monitors and Ethernet and all that. And you can see I unplugged the computer, plugged it back in to Thunderbolt, and Ethernet's fine, but the displays are broken again. And I could do this all day long. And yesterday, yesterday evening, I pretty much did. And that other display still not coming up. And here we have Ethernet lost again. Let's see, maybe it'll come back. Sometimes that takes a minute to register. The monitor is definitely not there, and Ethernet doesn't appear to be coming back. I get this as a factory refurb, but it's supposed to be like new. So again, this is not going to work for me. Oh, see, the Ethernet came back on that cycle. But the display didn't. Don't understand. Try replugging in that monitor. It does give the 85 watts of power, which was the main reason I wanted to switch to this. This dock hopefully was going to be the one cable solution. I came from this dock. This is my Lenovo Thunderbolt dock. I had a Lenovo laptop last year until I changed jobs, and worked great with this dock. Single cable, it powered the the yoga laptop, powered everything just fine. With the Mac, everything works on it except it can't power the Mac. It doesn't have enough voltage or wattage. It's 60 or 65 watts. So here, let's get the Belkin one out of the way. Excuse my mess over here as I have everything in pieces as I'm troubleshooting all this. Okay, and my cable for that Thunderbolt cable for the monitor is not very long, so I'm going to have to move this dock to it, since it's on the, you have to plug it in the front of this dock. Everything out of the way. Doing this one-handed is probably not the way to do it. So we'll plug in my Dell to the front, and we've got the DisplayPort plugged in for the LG monitor. I've got the Ethernet plugged into the dock, and I've got my keyboard plugged in. So now we're going to plug in their Thunderbolt 3 cable, just to be clear. I did try the Belkin Thunderbolt 3 cable. It made no difference. Both cables are fine. So I had to provide power because, again, this dock doesn't provide enough power to keep the Mac running. I technically could do it, but it'll drain the battery. So let's log in. And you notice both monitors came right up as soon as I plugged it into the computer and woke it up. Let's refresh my displays. My Apple power supply is, it's not, there we go. So we'll do display, and sure enough, we're getting both at 60 hertz. And I can sit here all day long, unplug, come back, plug back in, rock solid. This dock has no problem providing 4K 60 hertz over the combination of DisplayPort and Thunderbolt 3. Now, ironically, this dock has two DisplayPorts, but you can't do 60 hertz out of both of them. That's part of the dock. Unrelated. The thing is, it's working, and it's Ethernet is fine. No issues there ever. I've never had a problem with its Ethernet. So there you go. This dock was fine. Only reason I wanted to replace it was, well, there's two reasons. One is it can't power the Mac, so I was always going to have two cables anyway, which is kind of defeats the purpose of the dock. And it does have its own issues. It's got a connection problem where if you vibrate if you touch, you practically breathe on the Thunderbolt cable where it plugs into the back of the dock, it will lose sync for a minute and then have to come back. But it doesn't have the problem of not being able to support the modes it's supposed to support. And I specifically bought the Belkin dock because it was supposed to, demonstrate that here. I can just tap this cable and it loses everything, it has to resync. That's just a defect, and I'm actually working with Lenovo to return this. But the functionality, other than that, the functionality of this is fine. Just again, I was getting the Belkin dock because it's supposed to support everything plus 85 watts of power. So that's my info. Sorry, so long-winded.